owner of House of Coffee has been focusing so much on each consumable product separately that he has somehow left the bigger picture aside. If only there was a tool that he could use to determine how much money House of Coffee is making overall on all three products, and which of those products contributes the most to an overall profitable picture. The unit contribution margin and ratio are useful in determining the profitability of each singular product or service so managers can set sales prices, but these tools don't look at the overall picture of profitability. This is where another calculation is beneficial for analysis: the total contribution margin. The total contribution margin helps you calculate how much total sales exceed total variable cost across all products and services, which reveals the total coverage of all fixed costs and overall profitability. There are two basic formulas for total contribution margin. The first formula is as follows: total sales revenue minus total variable cost equals total contribution margin. The second formula is as follows: total sales revenue multiplied by contribution margin ratio equals total contribution margin. Let's apply each of these formulas to the House of Coffee products. Let's start by using the first formula to find the total contribution margin for the well-known House of Coffee products. First, we need to calculate each product's contribution margin, and then we'll add all three products' contribution margins at 2 million units sold. We'll do that to get House of Coffee's total contribution margin. As a reminder, for calculating the contribution margin, let's walk through the large cappuccino numbers first. If 2 million large cappuccinos were sold at $7 each, the total sales revenue or sales price per unit times number of units sold is $14 million. And if the variable cost for each large cappuccino is $3, the total variable cost or variable cost per unit times number of units sold is $6 million. Plugging this into the formula, we have $14 million minus $6 million, which gives us a total contribution margin of $8 million. In the table, you'll see we've completed the same calculations for the other two products, and when we add them together, we get a total contribution margin of $18 million. Notice that these are the same results we found for each product's contribution margins at 2 million units sold in lesson 2.3, when we were comparing the products at different sales volume. For the House of Coffee, this means that the large cappuccino revenue gives us the most total contribution margin to cover total fixed costs, and we have leftover funds for profit when all three products are compared at the same sales volume level. Further, we can now calculate the total contribution margin of all products sold. This is important because now we can see how much of total sales revenue is left to contribute to our fixed cost and have left over for profit. If House of Coffee sold 2 million units of each product, they would realize an $18 million total contribution margin. Hello, certified professional. If you are enjoying this course, get accredited with CPE credits for watching it. Click the link in the show notes or visit cpeflow.com to access the full course ad-free and pass the final assessment quiz to officially earn your NASBA approved CPE credits and certificate of completion. Now, let's use the second formula. As a reminder, the formula is total sales revenue multiplied by contribution margin ratio equals total contribution margin. For the second formula, we must first determine the total sales revenue and contribution margin ratio. Then we'll multiply these two numbers to find the total contribution margin. Again, let's walk through the analysis of the large cappuccino as an example and reminder of the previously discussed formulas. If 2 million large cappuccinos were sold at $7 each, the total sales revenue or sales price per unit times the number of units sold is $14 million. To find the contribution margin ratio, we divide the contribution margin per unit, which was $4, by the sales price per unit, which is $7, yielding a contribution margin ratio of 57%. To find the contribution margin, we multiply $14 million by 57%, giving us a contribution margin of $8 million. If we repeat this process for all three products and then add up the resulting contribution margins, we get a total contribution margin of $18 million. Note that the total contribution margin is $18 million no matter which formula you've used. Let's get back to the fixed cost the owner has: rent, salaries, insurance, and depreciation, just to name a few. When trying to cover House of Coffee's total fixed cost of $5 million, we see from this analysis that the coffee puff pastry alone will not make the grade with a $4 million product contribution margin. But the large cappuccino and large Americano will, because their product contribution margins are $8 million and $6 million respectively. Luckily, House of Coffee does not need to choose between their products, as they expect to sell all three together. And all together at a sales volume of 2 million units of each product, House of Coffee has $18 million to contribute towards fixed cost with leftover revenues for profit. So you guide the owner through how to use these calculations to create a contribution margin income statement to easily see the company's overall profitability. Of course, let's look at the complete picture if 2 million units of each product were sold. The contribution margin income statement is great for House of Coffee's internal analysis. It shows the profitability of their sales after both variable and fixed costs are considered. Using the contribution margin income statement is a different way of looking at the information that our CVP analysis provides. This basic income statement format assists businesses in looking at the profitability of its products at different sales volumes. It does not consider non-operational expenses, therefore, the operating income in this example is more specifically the EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes. The CVP analysis, contribution margin in dollars per unit and dollars, contribution margin ratio, and contribution margin income statement all render the same information and allow businesses to see the impact of different sales volume on profitability after considering both fixed and variable costs. In the next lesson, we will look at how labor-intensive jobs that are being replaced by technology impacts cost structure and profit. Would House of Coffee benefit from automated deliveries? Let's find out.